Is it weird that I'm just like jumping right in? Just like, let's fucking go. What's up, gamers? I mentioned in the last devlog that I wanted to start building out some like enemy AI behavior code. I wanted to be able to put in that placeholder behavior for different enemy types, blockers, etc., so that I can actually start playtesting the combat and seeing how it feels. Because I've done a lot of theorizing and like, oh, maybe this special attack will be really cool, or maybe I could do it this way, or maybe she can't run while she attacks, stuff like that. But to really get to the answer, I'm going to need to actually, play the game. And the best way to play the game is to actually fight the enemies that are going to be in the game. And also, so that Fur can start actually drawing up these enemies and the designs and the animation and blah, 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 blah. You want to make sure that you're designing an enemy that actually will work in the game. Don't want to spend like a week doing a bunch of animations for an enemy that ultimately you have to cut because it's not any fun to play against, right? So there's a long preamble to say that it's very important that this enemy AI behavior is like good. It's important that the enemy AI is robust and reusable, because I don't want to have to like program out each individual enemy in the game by hand, right? You want to be able to slap the AI brain onto it and like basically tell it how you want it to work. For the like demo placeholder stuff, like for the temporary playtesting, I could just like, I don't know, like hot dog slap some whatever garbage jank on there. Why did I say hot dog slap? What does that even mean? Yeah, I guess I could hot dog slap whatever like, garbage system onto the enemies, the big red squares, and just see how that works. But I'm a little bit hesitant to do that because for one, it'll just be like a waste of effort. And for two, I tend to not want to just throw stuff away. So if I just start building out enemies one by one, I think that cruft might stick around. Or at the very least, I don't want to just hot dog slap whatever like jank implementation for each individual like placeholder enemy type, because I think that that's going to like stick around, or it's going to be annoying, or it's not going to get like a good, feel. There's just like a million reasons why I should build out this kind of like robust enemy AI system that I can reuse down the line for making all kinds of different enemies. And even for the same enemy, being able to like tweak their behavior slightly based on where they are in the map or in the level. Even if one enemy, like if he knows how to like shoot a thing, maybe he can shoot at different timing intervals based on his place in the level. That might not be a great example because you might get used to the timing intervals, but the point remains, you want to be able to change stuff, right? Maybe their patrol behavior is a little bit different on cliffs. Maybe they can like jump down to a different cliff and then jump back up, and they don't do that if there isn't a cliff, that sort of thing. I think you get the point. I want to build a reusable AI system that I can just put onto whatever enemies in the game, and I can just tweak their behavior settings, and it'll all be good. Now, the question is, how do I make that system? Like, what is it going to take? Here's the plan. We have 3 levels of this system. The first level are the enemy states. I'm sure you're familiar with state machines, but if you're not, essentially you have a bunch of different states that something can execute. Walking, shooting, dying, and you can go into those states to execute those behaviors. So at the base level, it's states and a state machine. And then at the next level up, we have what I'll call the state executor, because that's a cool fucking name. I'm choking to death. What the fuck was I saying? So the state executor holds a number of states, and it decides how those states get executed. So it can go in order, it can go sequentially, it can go like randomly, or whatever type of executor I want to build. I can build special case executors. Essentially, it is the machine part of the state machine. It's what determines how to run the state machine. And then we go one more level up and we have what I'm calling the AI controller. And the AI controller does what the state executor does, but to the state executors. And it knows the priority level of each executor. So there can be like a state executor for like unaware enemies. They don't know Isadora's there. So they are like just patrolling, they're just walking back and forth, living a happy life. They don't know that they're about to get like mercilessly slaughtered. And so they are in their unaware state. And then there can be a state executor for like threatened, where if Isadora is within a certain range of the enemy, they enter their threatened state executor. And by enter, I mean the state executor knows that it is like valid to operate. And then they each have like a priority assigned. So the AI controller knows, okay, the unaware state like essentially is always active. If no other state executor is running, then it's good to go. But because the threatened state executor is turned on, it knows that's a higher priority, we should start executing that. So once you get in range, the enemy can see you and start shooting at you, right? And then we can have as many different state executors inside there with different priorities and different ways of activating. That means we can build really complex behavior because we have these interesting states that can run in different state executors, and then we can have different state executors, and we can define all the behavior without even needing to write code other than new states, like a new behavior state that doesn't exist, or a new type of executor. Because all of this AI controller logic will sit on every single enemy, we don't have to like rewrite everything for every enemy, which means we can share all the like physics controlling, we can share the hitbox, we can share the hurtbox, we can share animation players, like we can do a lot of different stuff that's like completely shared, which should make it really quick to make different enemies, different enemy behaviors, different enemy types. And it's not like a revolutionary system. It's a little complex. It's gonna probably run into some hurdles because of Godot, like GD script, not being as good as C#. Maybe I can't even say that. I'm better at C#, so at least I think it's gonna get what we need done. And then I think it's gonna be really, really useful to quickly prototype a bunch of different enemy types, see which designs are like fun to play against, which designs aren't fun to play against, and you know, all that good stuff. But like I said, it could be a little bit complex, and it's not like pushing the boundaries of what GD script is for or anything, you know, it's a very like normal use case. But yeah, like I said, the system's gonna be like a little bit complex, so I will definitely need to like get going on it and see what we can get done. I have written in my notes to riff about enemy behavior. What the fuck does that mean? I was like, I can't think of a good joke when I'm outlining the script. I'm sure I'll be able to come up with one on the spot. Okay, so I'm gonna get to that and talk to y'all later. Hopefully with a great update where everything went perfectly. Hopefully I'll cut back in and be like, guys, everything went smooth as hell. Everything gravy, let's freaking go. It's all fucked. It's all fucked. Okay, it's actually not that bad, but we do have a couple problems, and it's all sort of to do with how the states work together. So let me just lay out like a concrete example here. So let's imagine this cute little mushroom boy. Hey, cute little mushroom boy. How are you doing today? Yeah, and by the way, this is one of the enemies that Fur has been working on. I think he's so cute. And what kind of 2D platformer is complete without a cute little mushroom-based enemy guy? Anyway, we got this little guy here, right? And he's just walking back and forth. Like, his little state executor is telling him, move left, move right, because you're completely unthreatened. You live in a very safe environment. So you just walk back and forth to your heart's content, right? And so he's walking back and forth in his happy little world. And then, whoa, what the fuck is that? Isadora. He sees an enemy, probably for the first time ever, if I'm being honest. And so he sees Isadora, and immediately his state executor goes, there's a higher priority thing to be doing right now, you little mushroom boy. You shouldn't just be walking back and forth. You got things to worry about. You're an adult now, and you have responsibilities. You need to shoot a little thingy at her. So Mushroom Boy decides to jump up in the air and shoot a little dark thing at her. Shoot some fucking mushroom poison gas. I don't know. He shoots something at her. This is fine. It's fine. The AI controller sees that there is a new state executor that's a higher priority, switches to start activating that, and the first one in that, and it's a sequential one, I guess, the first one in that says, yo, shoot your thing, right? So he goes to shoot the thing. Then Isadora takes one step backwards. He can't see her anymore. It's like, there's no longer any threats in my life. I have no problems to worry about. I should just be walking back and forth. He just starts walking back and forth. The problem is, he was in midair. He started jumping, so what's going on? And as you can see, there's lots of edge cases with how states should like fold into each other and how they should progress and which, like, should they complete their action? Like, should he continue walking his entire walk cycle before he starts shooting? No, he should probably start shooting right away, but he definitely shouldn't interrupt in the middle of jumping into the air so that he can, you know, walk the other way. And then you have cases where some states obviously have to always take over. It doesn't matter if he's up in the air. He needs to die if he doesn't have any health left. He needs to die. Make it happen. He's having a real crisis of identity. And you can also like get a lot of funny behavior where you can send him into like a little rave party by just walking in and out where he ends up flipping between states that have different animations. Check out this little rave. Obviously, that's one problem. And now, is there a solution? No, game's fucked. Peace out, into the series. Obviously, there's a solution. I think the way that we're going to solve this is by just having states have whether or not they're interruptible. His attack state where he jumps and shoots a thing, that's not interruptible. So even if that state is like one he should no longer even have access to, like he's out of that state executor or he needs to move on, it can't be interrupted. So he will finish that state before it moves on to the next execution. Whereas with walking, he can interrupt that whenever to start whatever he wants. So interruptible versus non-interruptible. Some states are marked as interruptible or non-interruptible. And then we also can have certain states that force interrupt. When you die, It interrupts whatever you're doing. This is lesson of the day, moral to take away for your everyday life. When you die, everything else stops. Some states force an interrupt, and some states can't be interrupted, and some states can be interrupted. Basically, we use this interruption system to determine how you can transition between states when different things happen. And I think that's a great way to handle these kind of edge cases. So I think my next step is to build that in so my little mushroom guy doesn't have a fucking crisis of faith every time Isadora pops in and out of view. The other issue, which isn't really so much as like a complex design issue or something that like really I need to address with like systemic changes or something. It's just that the system's a little bit like complex to work with. It's not intuitive. It's hard for me to sometimes wrap my mind around the behavior I'm building. A little bit weird playing with, like trying to build out this test behavior. I'm already like a little bit sick of all the states. And it's a little bit hard to debug, like it's hard to step through everything and see exactly what they're doing. And when my little mushroom guy is misbehaving and not doing what he's supposed to, it's not obvious to me why he's misbehaving. I mean, I talked to his teacher, I talked to his friends at school, but he's just acting out and I don't know what's causing it. The point is, it's a little bit hard to work with. It's like obtuse. And so I'm trying to think of if there's anything I can do to kind of fix that, or if there's anything even to be done, you know? It's like, I'm thinking that once I build out all these like default behaviors and build out all the state executors I need, and then then I don't even have to touch the code. I can just build it directly in editor. I can just build it directly into the scene. Enemies have their behavior trees. I can use whatever behavior systems I want. I think it'll be fine, because right now sometimes it feels a little bit rough, but I think that's just because it's not complete yet. And, you know, running into bugs, it's like I built like the shared physics controller for the enemies, and it caused a lot of physics weirdness. You can watch my little mushroom guy learn how to walk through the air. It's very cool. The jump physics are working perfectly. Check this out. Check that out. Whoa. Don't screen record anything. Just zoom in real hard on my nostrils. Point is, I need to go build the interruption system that I came up with that I think is going to solve the problem I'm having with my AI behaviors. And I think we should be good to go, because it's really funny. It's really funny with the like defender type, where I just put him in a place and he attacks if you get too close to him. Trying to put placeholder in for that and see how it works, it's very stupid, because as soon as Isadora walks away a little bit to not get hit with the attack he's winding up, he stops trying to attack. So he gives up real easy. He's like, I'm gonna get you. Oh man, she left and I can't even walk around. I'm gonna get to work. I'll talk to you peeps later. See ya. Don't got a mouth. Don't know how to talk, never learned how to talk. My mom didn't teach me. She thought it would be funny to have a grown son that just walked around grunting things. So I made pretty good progress on the AI controller and all the state machine stuff. I was going to say it's working pretty good, but not exactly. There's lots of bugs that I'm still trying to iron out. There are some really great ones, like how my little man gets confused. Check out this little... Got some good stuff done. I implemented all the interruptible state stuff, and that works pretty much how I expect. And it did solve a lot of the problems I was having, but it didn't solve all of the problems I was having. There's still lots of little bugs. There's this great one where my little usher guy takes off into the sky. Look at him go! Great job, buddy. But yeah, so there's lots of little physics bugs like that one. But also, he just kind of gets confused really easily and isn't sure what to do. For example, in this clip, where he should know I'm there. I know technically he's facing the wrong way and can't see me, but I'm not using like a vision cone. I'm using a big area around him. So he should be able to see me there, but he just doesn't. He's just chilling. That little rock wall is in for an absolute beating, dude. It's not like artificial intelligence so much as it's like artificial dumb mushroom guy. All things considered, it's going pretty well, so I just need to iron out these last couple bugs. I feel like the system is pretty close to where I want it to be. It's just like a few issues here and there. So, but yeah, just wanted to update, say that I got all the interruptible stuff working. He knows how to continue trying to attack Isadora once he doesn't see her, if that's already what he was doing, and then he goes back into his wander state. And that works sometimes when he doesn't like get confused or just start tackling the wall or fly off into space. So the different test enemies are working pretty well. The red blobs that like run at me at the right time or shoot something at me. But it's way more fun to test with the cool Ushroot art that Fur made and the environmental art. It feels way more like I'm playing a game. And also all the like specific tuning of this attack are work in progress, because obviously it'll be different based on where he is in the level, but whatever. It's going pretty well. I think I should be able to finish this up in the next couple of days. Just have to squash these bugs and implement a few different like state behaviors and test some stuff out. So it's going pretty well. I'll talk to you later. Gamers. All right, and I'm back, and I'm happy to report that it's working, baby. But yeah, excited. Was able to squash pretty much all those bugs. A lot of them were just in the physics controller, stuff that I was just doing wrong. Just some really easy mistakes to make, I think. But yeah, so it just went through, cleaned up the physics controller. The other big problem I had was with the actual state executors, like holding on to the previous state or like losing references. It was not the cleanest thing I wrote, so I just went through and redid a bunch of the state executor stuff, and the new version is a lot cleaner and doesn't have those same bugs where you basically get stuck in the same state over and over and over. But yeah, it's super exciting. And one thing that's really cool about it is that all these enemies that I'm prototyping, I can prototype them right in editor and just move the states around. I think I've already mentioned this like 3 times by now, but it's really cool. There's a huge advantage to being able to design new enemies like quickly and like being able to then immediately like run around with them in the game. I feel like it increases my creativity a lot. I already have so many cool ideas. Like, first example, let me show you my little mushroom boy behaving appropriately. His tackle is still a little bit weak, but he follows his Adora correctly. He knows how to switch to an attacking state when he finally sees her. And honestly, he just works great. You can watch him die, if that's your thing, you little nasty freak. So that's the mushroom guy. He's working great. And then some of the prototypes, we got this prototype for an enemy that has 2 attack types. One where he'll charge at Isadora and one where he'll like jump and slam down. So when you see him start to wind up his attack, you know that you either need to get ready to jump over him or dash under him. And then while he's charging, if you jump over him, he doesn't turn around immediately. So if you hit him into a wall, he'll get like stunned. And I was able to get that behavior working just fine. And like, even though he's just a red rectangle, it's still a lot of fun to just like try to dodge him and try to like react when he finally does the move. The reaction time is a little bit tough because he doesn't really have any animation tells, and I don't know how long the animations will be for this guy once I actually design like what he's gonna do. But in general, the system worked great for making him. I was able to make an enemy that like flies through the air and drops some stuff while it is just another rectangle floating through the air, getting that like flight behavior that feels kind of like it's zigzagging throughout the sky and then dropping something that can deal some damage. That's like working great. Here's an enemy that just stands still until he sees you, and then once he sees you, his behavior is just to roll right at you. The idea is I'm going to make this kind of like a little armadillo like guy. And by the time this video gets edited, we might already have the art for that armadillo guy, so we can probably throw him up. We got some great enemy prototypes that are really fun to interact with, and I'm really excited to start like building levels that I can actually put these guys into. I think having these enemies defined and then coming up with level hazards, which may be spoiler for the next video, who knows? I think I'm going to be able to make some good progress on designing the levels, and I'm really excited about it. And it opens up Fur to be able to do a lot of enemy designs without me being too worried about the huge mistake of designing a bunch of enemies that I can't use. But we'll see. From just like thinking about stuff, I already have a bunch of enemy design ideas that I'll probably run by Fur. Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. I think that's the end of this devlog. I tried a new format with this one where I tried to like define the project I wanted to work on as a part of the game, then talk about it as I worked on it, and then report midway and then at the end. So let me know how you liked this different format. It's different from what I was doing before, where I basically just record every day, but this feels a lot more sustainable for me. I think the next project I'm going to tackle is working on the camera to make it pixel perfect and also not pixel perfect. What does that mean? Tune in for the next video to find out. And if you like this one, then hit the like button with your toes. Why can't I just end these like a normal person? Yeah, subscribe to my channel. Kiss your dog. What's wrong with me? All right, bye-bye.